प्रतिभावान कवि शब्दों में जान फूंकता है, तब शब्द खेलते हैं, हंसते हैं, आग उगलते हैं, तभी होता है भाषा एक भाषा। तब तक साधारण भाषा उससे आप आकर्षित करने की कोई कारण नहीं है, जस्टिफिकेशन नहीं है। वो सिर्फ वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम इफ आई रिसाइट टू यू इन तेलुगु। नहीं साहब, 2-3 तेलुगु वाले हैं, अगर आप सुनाए तो खुश हो जाएंगे। अच्छी बात बाबा। तो मैं मजबूरन रोते हुए सुनाया। और जब कभी और ये लोग तेलुगु कवि कहते, ओ मैं आई कैनॉट टॉलरेट दैट काइंड ऑफ ए थिंग। हिंदी कवि, तेलुगु कवि, गुजराती कवि, अरे कवि कवि ही होता है। एज आर्चबाल्ड मैकलिश, he was a professor of poetry in Harvard University. He wrote a book called Experience, Poetry and Experience. I wish our friends read it. It's an excellent book, and a very slim volume, not very big, frightening volume. There he says, a poem is a poem in any language. A poem is a poem in any language. Then a poet is a poet in any language. He cannot be called Telugu poet or an English poet. It's all absurd. It only indicates the limitations of our own, whatever it is. Now, వేళ్ళు కాళ్ళై నడిచే చెట్టు మనిషి, వినిపించా అనుకుంటాను. మనిషిగా చెట్టుగా ఉంటే ఏడాదికొక వసంతమన్నా దక్కేది. మనిషినై అన్ని వసంతాలు కోల్పోయాను. एक टुकड़ा है वो, जिसे मैंने कहा चमत्कारिका। ऐसे चंद चमत्कारिकाएं मैंने आपको सुनाता हूँ। दूसरा, गंगा किसी जमाने में एक देवता थी, उसके बाद बन गई नौकाओं का मार्ग। अंत में बनकर रह गई मात्र सिंचाई की नहर। देख लो, देवताओं के रूप भी बदल जाते हैं काल के हाथों। గంగా నది మొదట ఒక దేవత, తర్వాత పడవల రస్తా, తర్వాత మన పొలాల్లోకి ప్రవహించే పంట కాలవ. చూచావా, దేవతల రూపాలు కూడా కాలం చేతుల్లో ఎలా మారిపోతాయో. మనమంతా ఇవాళ ఈ నదిలో మునిగిపోతే పోవచ్చుగాక, కానీ ఒక రోజు రాకపోదు ఎప్పుడు ఈ నదే సముద్రంలో పడిపోతుందో. हो सकता है हम सब आज इस नदी में डूबे हुए होंगे, लेकिन कल वह दिन भी आएगा जब नदी ही समंदर में डूब जाएगी। किसानों का आकाश बरसाता है मात्र बरखा, बहारें नहीं। ऐ दोस्त, अब बरस रहा है राजनीतिक बरखा। धोखे में आकर बो मत अपने बीज। धोखे में आकर बो मत अपने बीज। धूप जैसी मेरी कल्पना, धूप जैसी मेरी कल्पना शब्द पर पड़ी, सुदीर्घ उसकी छाया शताब्दी पर पड़ी। सूरज खेल रहा था प्रातः खिले फूलों के साथ, वीर को देखकर काल भयभीत हो गया। मैं ये अंग्रेजी में कुछ पढ़ूं अगर आप चाहे तो। जी, this is from my country, my people. A hand rises out of the dawn, the hand of the toiler of time. It is raised, dipped in the blood and sweat of human fields. It scatters sindoor to long shadows of distances. I open my eyes and from my little window greet the birds and clouds flying about in the air. I fling a sigh at them and all my dreams are only their wings. I share the loving gift of sun, my day, with them. I am born out of the grain. I live for the grain, and dead I go back into the grain. I make poems with molecules of sounds, and like glass made out of particles of sand, lilt them into tunes. With yarn which dreams of colors, I weave saris to drape women of my country and release them like butterflies in the meadows of human life. I make ships, launch them in oceans to carry and go flying my people's flags. I lay roads in dreams. I build mansions into the clouds. With my life, I raise massive walls of the frontiers of my country, high into the chests of my enemies. I give shapes, forms, and voices to rocks and release them from silences. I give voices to rocks and release them from silences. I plow all the fields of human life. What beauty have I not created with this hand? What beauty have I not created with this hand? What thing on earth did not surrender to this hand? But this hand has remained always empty. I had no place in bygone history, and the present history has no scruples. Why I build dams, why I till land, I do not know. I live in a zero, but I walk along. Man is the walking tree, roots changed into legs. Had I remained a tree, I could have had a spring every year. Having become a man, I have lost all the springs on earth. From my childhood, trees have been growing, roads have been walking, towns and villages have been jumping and dancing in joy, but I walk alone with empty hands in my country, where I have nothing of my own. Only my memories to follow behind me, and with myself as the leader of that procession, and my burning red desire flying like my flag. I will read one more and then stop. Moments are not the retinue of time. Moments are not the retinue of the time. There is one moment that decides the turning point of mankind. I can't bury myself in stoic silence of inaction. I can't hand over to sighs that time which stands and beckons me. Remember, the storms do not count for a life which strides with hills and shifts with oceans. Fiercest storms blow off while struggles of life flit around like fleas. Look, drunk on the liquor of sweat, the sun grows large and formidable, bestows millions of sickles and hammers of light. In history, where savage winds blow in cantos, in history, where savage winds blow in cantos, I can't be like the branches of tree that remain trembling in the hands of unrelenting winds. Do not query why so restless. Do not query why so restless. Ask the ocean why it is restless. Do not say why so furious. Ask the tempest for an answer. Know that time, after all, is my paper, upon which I write the charter of my dreams for the world, sculpture a colossus of force out of man. My will shall shout and break the spine of the time, tear off the horizons, and throw a new era on earth. It shall confer unrest on man. It shall confer unrest on man and flow like red hot blood through all the roads of our villages and make him into a sea and into a tempestuous storm. I shall gift this consciousness to my country with my four-dimensional poems. Now, centuries will speak the language which I learned in the wombs of forests. My word will be legacy to future generations. My poems only countries and nations deserve. It is now up to you to instruct me either to close or to continue. We have to take the consensus. Yes, I am ready. I will close these books. But I would like to read one poem. Ji? Two more. You are a real poet. Telugu. Oh my God. Oh, where is it? एक छोटी सी कविता है, वो आपको सुनाना जी चाह रहा है। यह भाषा, यह देश, यह काल, यह भाषा, यह देश, यह काल, कैसे कहूँ कि मेरे हैं। कभी आपको ये मन में आया क्या? कैसे कहूँ कि मेरे हैं, न मैंने इन्हें चुना, न किसी ने इनके लिए मेरी स्वीकृति ली। मैं केवल बंदी हूं उनका, बिना किसी कारण। तो छोड़ दीजिए, थोड़ो भाषाओं को तोड़ने के लिए क्या तरीका है? हिंदी है। एक भाषा चुन लेना सारे देश के लिए, automatically. You must have heard of the biblical story of the Tower of Babel, where a big tower was being built by the early men to reach heaven. And the gods in heaven were so frightened that these fellows might come there and pollute their atmosphere. So they threw a net of language over them. Prior to this net of languages, they could easily converse, communicate with each other, and so the work of building the tower was very easy. But the moment this net of language was thrown on mankind, finished. Nobody could speak to each other. You see, a man can be divided, he can cross oceans and reach the other man on the other side of the ocean. One can cross the hills, jump over it, and reach the other man. One can do anything to reach one man to reach the other man. But even if you are only just 1 foot in front of the other man, if his language is different, you can never have any communication with him. That, pardon?
May I correct you? You have spoken in your poetry of language of silence. And that's the phrase.
Language of silence. That leads to volumes of explanation or contemplation. So we shall leave it for the time being. I will read one poem from this. When a bird sings in the branch, I interrupt my daily routine for a moment and listen with great attention. I hope ध्यान दिए होंगे. When a bird sings in the branch, I interrupt my daily routine for a moment and listen to it with great attention. That bird alone knows, in my seasons of poetry, how many glorious words my lips blossomed, like a branch that ingresses into the chromosomes of the cells of my being. Today on my tongue stands the angel of speech. Today on my tongue stands the angel of speech like a peppermint. With bubbling enthusiasm to make a poem, I washed with soap and polished by similes, metaphors, hyperboles, and other tools of my craft. Then laid them out on the table, where they looked like nymphs, that came out freshly from pools of my prehistoric blood. In my throat, branches of flowers, bunches of lemons were swinging in the breezes of wild fancy. In my throat, branches of flowers, bunches of lemons were swinging in the breezes of wild fancy. Blood leaping with love in the veins of my beloved was blooming impish evenings in the room. When all of a sudden the storm on the road came in through the window and blew off all my poetic waters. all my poetic wares and disappeared, bruising the room. I'm sorry. The storm came through the window and blew off all my poetic wares and disappeared, bruising the room. The song which bathed in sorrow, the song which bathed in sorrow, its naked body was still wet with tears. The song which bathed in sorrow, its naked body was still wet with tears. The paper lost the aspired worlds of light. The paper which lost the aspired worlds of light wept looking at me. Wept looking at me. Though many seasons of mine were blown off in the wind, though many seasons of mine were blown off in the wind, one little piece of memory of Chaitra still lies caught in my ravaged branches. The whole night in me, the skulls of volcanoes exploded, and some multitudes of light rushed out. Circles of moons like silver plates were tumbling down into the plains of papers and into the volumes of my books. Like an axle of the wheel of sky, like an axle of the wheel of sky, the Milky Way creaked and turned. At once it was morning. On the road outside, a vagabond was walking along, chewing a piece of thought. A vagabond was walking along the road, chewing a piece of thought. To the storm that continuously harassed the skies, to the storm that continuously harassed the skies, the whole of yesterday, the transparent moon is a full stop. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I expose myself to any battery or volleys of questions.
Why are you so averse to be called a Telugu poet? Emotions may be universal, but you need some language to express yourself.
Some language.
Because you are known as a Telugu poet.
No. I am.
Medium of expression.
Yes, I am not averse to Telugu alone. I am averse to language, because language is the greatest villain in the world which divides men. Men cannot surmount the walls of language. You have to communicate with language only. Therefore, it is only a tool of communication. It has to be in the control of man. Man is superior to language. Not satisfied, perhaps. Yes, you will not be satisfied, I know it. It requires a lot of cultivation of your mind to think in such terms. I have no other way to, but please do not misunderstand me that I hate languages. I am an enemy of languages without hating them, because I use them as tools of communication. You see, even birds, they have a language. Everything has a language. True. But here, as human beings, our problem is mainly the language is the villain of division of humanity. And
What you mean to say you are against the multiplicity of languages? There should be a common language. That's what you.
the way to overcome this gigantic problem of humanity is to embrace one language for human communication.
Poets speak only one language, isn't it?
Poets speak their languages, I told you, the symbols, metaphors, and things like that.
But at what stage the realization comes
What realization? What does it mean?
that there is only one language universally and that can be used for communication purposes?
Realization, I don't understand that. But all the intellectuals in the modern times and even earlier, they realized that there should be one language which should be understandable all over the world. And in the old world, Sanskrit occupied that place. With Sanskrit, a Telugu chap could go to Kashi and live there as if completely feeling at home. Similarly, it happened with Latin and Greek in the Western Hemisphere. But what I mean to say is that these are only attempts of man to surmount the difficulties that numerous languages pose and divide the humanity, cut their communication, and imprison them in small, small cages of languages.
Sir, cannot a universal language which is couched in symbols be created by intellectual poets, gigantic poets like you?
Oh.
Those across the entire world without any boundaries?
Keeping me aside from this, there has been an attempt, if I remember correctly, to improvise a world language. But whatever has happened with regard to that kind of a proposition, there was for quite a long time, right from perhaps later part of the 19th century, an attempt on the part of the Western intellectuals, mostly European. Europe was the center of modernity. They have been conceiving of a world government. And this world government, first it happened in Europe with, the European languages have literatures, books, and things like that. And they began to translate the French books into Spanish, the Spanish into German, the German into Russian, and Italian like this. As the translation began to increase rapidly, the idea of one Europe dawned on the minds of Europeans. It was perhaps Matthew Arnold who first said, for all purposes, Europe is a confederation of intellectualism and thought. It started with him. And then we find, I forget his name, a French writer, he says, conscience Europeani. And then came T.S. Eliot saying, the European mind. And then ultimately you see the Westerners landed on the Western man, Western mind. J.B. Priestley was the person to project this concept of the Western mind. So people have always been making an attempt to enlarge the horizons of humanity, having a bigger, wider sphere of human activity, commonly shared, instead of trying to cage themselves in little holes. So that's why in India too, I once suggested to some officials here that India should launch on translation on a massive scale. And it is best that all the literatures of all Indian languages are brought into Hindi. And Hindi should be, with greater speed, should be spread all over India. Like Pakistan has done in the case of Urdu. Wherever you go, you can speak easily in Urdu in Pakistan. Whereas in India, if you leave some of these Hindi states, nobody understands what is Hindi. But crores of rupees are being spent, squandered on that. It is the politician, perhaps, who is the villain of the piece. That's not our business, anyhow.
But none of the languages have born overnight.
Pardon?
When we see the origin of any language,
Mm.
whether it is Telugu or Russian or English,
Mm.
there are many factors, primarily sociological, geographical,
Mm.
and cultural.
Mm.
There are many more factors which have given rise to the origin and development of a particular language, and it has been a uniting force over a limited geographical area. So calling the language as a piece of villain is perhaps oversimplification of the problem, which really lies in the mind and psyche of the human being, not in the language per se.
Perhaps it might appeal to some people, but despite your earnest advocacy, it does not. Pardon?
Every language has a sanskar, and why it has the environment, and people are born with that environment. We appreciate your concern as a poet that there is a point of time where you want the communication to be worldwide,
Yes.
and at that particular point of time, one feels that language is becoming an obstacle, and the raga dveshas connected with the language are the problems of the humanity that we appreciate very much. But language as such has its own place, and even one language with different dialects will not solve that problem which you think language will solve. It's the human emotion which needs to be refined, the work which you are doing, and that is the real language of the poetry and of the poet. And that's why I requested, being a Hindi poet, I requested you to give me a Telugu poem, because I know that the language is spoken in totality with total correctness. It has such a beauty that you can feel that this person is using the language in beauty, and you can feel the language, you can merge with the essence of the poet, and you can just feel it like a music.
You can do that. Process can take place in any language. If literature is suppose in some language, if it is literature, all the process you have explained can take place in that language too. It makes no difference if the language is changed. Because I will tell you one thing. Shall I give you one? I'm only confined here to language. Given a certain human emotion or an emotional situation in different centuries and different countries, if he is a poet or an artist, they react exactly in a similar way, and their expressions in language also are similar. For example, there is Arnaud David. He is a troubadour poet of France in the 11th century. He said, I would recite to you, it's a very short line. He says, O moon, O beloved moon, do not go away, because my beloved will also go away. And this is something like that. Arnaud David, 11th century, France, is a troubadour poet. There was what is called a troubadour movement. They go to each house and sing their poems, whether you like it or not. Now, this is a situation which you could have understood. Now, that is 11th century. And you have Josh Malihabadi. He is only recent man. He says, शब के पाए के रोके कोई, जाने वाले खमर को रोके कोई, थक के सोया है जानू पे मेरे, रोके रोके सहर को कोई. It's almost the same. He belongs to one time, that man belongs to another. It is France, it is India. And और एक है, देखिए, एक दोहा है. You see how exactly similar it is. This doha, I think this is Amir Khusro's doha. सजन सकारे जावेंगे, नयन मरेंगे रोए, नयन मरेंगे रोए, विधना ऐसी रैन करो कि भोर कभी न होए, कथी न होए. I think you understand, it is just the same words. And here you have Valmiki. Valmiki is much, much earlier, more ancient than any of these people. The only difference is the Vyog is a man. Ram has to go for Vanvas the next morning. The previous night, Father Dasharatha was suffering intense torture, was in deep sorrow. And then, in utter helplessness, he says, Na prabhatam tvaye ichhami, nishe nakshatra shalini. What a beautiful epithet. Nishe nakshatra shalini. Na prabhatam tvaye ichhami. I don't like you to turn into Prabhat, he Nishe. Kriyatam me daya bhadre rachitayam mayanjalihi. मैं हाथ जोड़ता हूँ, मुझ पर दया करो. Don't change into day. Because if it becomes day, Ram leaves for Vanvas. You see, these people belong to different countries, different times, but given an emotional situation, the words were the same. I don't know what was the question and what answer I was giving.
Originality, for example, the Enki Padavan Telugu is not entirely unique.
Oh yes, everything can be translated. This is another very important thing.
Originality is the changing.
Excuse me,
Originality of what we are talking.
kindly listen to me. I have a very serious concern for this work of translation. Many people say, this is another fad, translation is impossible. If any beautiful poem or something is translated, it does not remain as the original is. It is not true. In my own experience, at least 30 years I have translated. Our Telugu people have never even known it. They have not felt it, what work I have done. It is unfortunate. I am like Jesus among Jews. Now, it's a pity to be born like that. Now you see, I have translated right from 1960 67, 68 or so, I have never published a book of poems without a translation. It was always a bilingual translation, bilingual book edition, because the conviction was and the aspiration was that poetry is the same in any language and it should reach all people. It cannot be confined to one language only. With this realization, I have always published my books of poetry in bilingual editions. You find all of them. But later on, of course, people who are interested have translated them into Kannada, into Bangla, into Greek also. My people has been translated to Greek. Therefore, but I would like to tell some of my Telugu friends that they should not misunderstand me, that I am a hater of Telugu or anything. I don't hate anything. It's not in my nature or blood. But I oppose what I think is wrong, what I believe is wrong. I speak Telugu, but I do not use it as if it is something very sacred. There is no sacredness for it. It is only a tool of communication. But its literature is entirely different. It is literature that is important in any language, and that is in fact the heritage of the people who speak Telugu or Hindi or Gujarati. So, my friends, silence is the ultimate language. There are some people who have felt it earnestly. And in the modern times, Paul, I forget the name, he's a Frenchman. Pardon?
Paul Weller.
Not Paul Weller, he's a poet. Paul, I'm not able to. He says the terrorism of literature. It is terrorism. That means the language annihilates itself in poetry. It annihilates itself. For example, you see, once you denote a particular object, a hill, if until a word has been found for a hill, the hill remained in existence. After the word has been found, the hill is given up. Even sitting here without a hill, with the help of this word, you capture this. This is how they said. And then ultimately, in poetry, you begin to eliminate words, as many as possible. It looks as if ultimately poetry is traversing towards silence. Poetry of terrorism, and this kind of peculiar theories, they have occurred in modern Western literature, and they are very, very important literary movements.
Any other question? Okay, Mr. Paul, we give a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Should I sit there or? I am very sorry how far I could satisfy.
Well, friends, on behalf of the India International Center and the Sahitya Academy, I would like to thank Sri Sashendra Sharma for coming here, joining us, and giving a very wonderful discourse this evening. I would like to mention and rather refer to his pursuit of truth, and this pursuit is through beauty. He is a worshipper of beauty,
and he is trying to search truth through beauty. He gave a wonderful example of a forest where he got images, experiences, and could write more poetry. But in this world, it's only half of the truth that is present in beauty. The other half is concealed in the beast, which is in plenty in the forests of this world today. So we have to tackle both the beast and the beauty in searching truth. His another important concern has been the concern of the language, which many of us discussed. He is a true poet. He wants to express truth and make it known to everybody, to everyone on this globe. And this is a major concern. And he finds that the multiplicity of languages is a great barrier. He is not against anybody, but he is against the barriers in the communication of his thought to his readers. We are with him, and we would also like to congratulate him for doing so many translations, translating so many works. And I am reminded of Professor Ramanujan, who did plenty of work translating important works into other languages. We would like to congratulate him for doing such a commendable work. With these words, I thank him again. Thank you.